Hi, my name is Peter Zalewski. I'm the founder of CondoVultures.com. I have the pleasure of sitting down here today with the foremost expert on the condominium market, probably the residential market in all of the state of Florida, and increasingly on what's going on with trends throughout the United States. I'm sitting here with Jack McCabe. Jack is the president and founder and chairman and you name it with McCabe Research and Consulting. It's based out of the Boca Raton area here in South Florida. It's an area called Deerfield Beach. Jack, first, welcome to CondoVultures.com. I'm glad you can make some time. We really feel privileged to have you stopping by. It's a big honor for us. For people who don't know how you got to where you are, can you give us a little bit of a background about, in my opinion, and I've been in South Florida since 1993, you were sort of the one who was ahead of the curve in calling and predicting what was ultimately going to happen 4 or 5 years after you actually you called it. So I'm just wondering, can you tell us a little bit about how you were able to do that and why you were able to do that, and a little bit about your background?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me here first, Peter. I appreciate it. I started out in real estate in 1982, and I was a sales representative for a home builder, and somewhat worked my way up through the ranks into sales management, division management. I then got into negotiating mergers and acquisitions of large real estate brokerages before I became a real estate consultant. In 2002, I opened my own business, McCabe Research and Consulting. We specialized in multifamily research to begin with, and we found that there was a great need down here in South Florida. Nobody was really doing it well, and from what I could see, the shift was on from the majority of residential construction being single-family homes to multifamily homes as we ran out of land down here and people were seeking more of an urban lifestyle. So I started out working for a firm called the Myers Group, a large national research and consulting firm, and then opened my own firm in 2002.
Oh, interesting. No, so walk us through it. Your original consulting firm, my understanding, or at least my recollection, is that what you would do is you would basically identify all of the multi-housing projects that were located throughout the state of Florida?
Correct. Yeah, we started out doing initially apartment reports on all the major complexes that were 100 units or more in market rate in nature, and tracking over 100 fields of data on each one of those projects, as well as putting out macroeconomic reports as well. Once we saw that many of the apartment complexes were being bought by condo conversion firms looking to turn the for rent units into for sale units, I started publishing some condominium conversion reports at that point. I then got a lot of requests from developers as the new condominium boom really started in the marketplace, really about 2003, to do market feasibility studies on these new projects. And then I got into consulting work with different lenders, and as the boom-bust cycle is proceeded, now I do a lot of work with hedge funds and private equity groups, investment banks, and I'm also doing a lot of expert witness testimony for large real estate court cases. Interesting.
That raises a bunch of questions in my mind. I guess probably the first question, if you could take us back to when you started to see the conversions occurring, what was the general makeup, or what were the characteristics, if you will, of those people who were looking to do the condo conversions? I mean, were these true developers, were these true investors, or were they more the speculator type from what you remember?
Well, it was both, actually. We started seeing some developers that recognized that the new condominium prices were going to be very high, and they could take an existing apartment complex and by lipstick on a pig or through gut renovation could change these into for sale units at a much more affordable cost than the new condominiums were. And we saw some large-scale developers, some large-scale condominium converters, as well as some accountants and electricians and lawyers and dentists that also got into condo conversion. Same thing actually happened in new condominium development as well. A lot of larger firms like the Related Group and WCI and others started building a tremendous amount of new luxury style condominium towers. But then we also have what I call some second and third tier developers with very little high-rise experience that also got into the condo game.
And those second tier type of developers, what for the most part has happened to them? Were many of them able to get out, or are they now sort of stuck with the property, or is the bank stuck with the property?
The ones that built early in the cycle and had projects that were finished by the end of 2005, mid-2006, did very well. And if they got out then they reaped the rewards of the boom. Unfortunately, many, once they had a success with 1 or 2 projects,
Yes.
thought they could have successes with 4, with 5, or with 8. And they heavily leveraged to get the funds to build these properties, to acquire the land for the construction. We also had an incredible amount of construction at one time period. I think at one point we had 56 cranes in the sky just in the city of Miami alone.
I remember those days.
These were all condominium projects, and so there was a shortage of labor, there was a shortage of materials. Construction superintendents were going to another job site to try and pull the day laborers off to come over and work on their building. And we could see that there were problems not just in the amount of units that were being built, not just with the buyers, because these were not buyers that were looking to live in these units. They were speculating that they were going to flip for a quick profit, but also with the construction quality, which is another shoe I think is yet to drop.
I would agree. I would definitely agree with you. And now, what about the more traditional developers who decided and who decided to go from maybe they were used to building low-rise or horizontal, and they decided to go vertical? And the company that comes to mind, at least in my mind, is Lennar. I remember when Lennar Home Builders, it's a large home builder based out of the Miami area. I remember when they decided to build their first vertical project right on the water in a place called North Bay Village down here in the Miami-Dade County area. I mean, how did many of them fend, or how did they do fare, I should say, lo and behold, after the fact, looking back at it?
Well, I think Lennar was fairly successful because they got in and out pretty quick. Lennar, most people don't know, also got into condo conversion.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and actually they were not as successful in the condo conversion because they were late to the game. They didn't get into it till the end of 2005 when the market had already shifted. But Lennar did fairly well. Other builders like Related, WCI, Taylor Woodrow, some of the other big names in multifamily construction did very well in the early stages, but we've already seen WCI go bankrupt.
Yes.
We've seen many other home builders that also endeavored into multifamily, tried to get out of just single family because they saw great opportunity in the multifamily sector, that if they would have stuck with single family, they probably would have done well. But they expanded, they over-leveraged to try and build these projects, and it ultimately has been their demise and will continue to be for other builders in the next 2 years.